here real quick. How's it going, everybody? I'm the BTC Reaper, and my goal on this channel is to teach you how to reap the rewards of trading, whether price is going up or down. So over on the Dixie for the daily, we did try to bounce forward off of this orange EMA level that could be positive for the Dixie. Remember, that's typically inverse of crypto, but right now they are acting more correlated because we do have that CPI news coming up, and it will affect both markets kind of equally, as they'll determine if we're more risk on or risk off. Remember, if CPI is weaker, then we are going to continue to be more risk off than risk on, and rates may not get cut until that CPI is around that 2%. So our momentum here, that big blue wave, is rounding away. This is on our free market cipher B. We have market cipher B here and A here. They are free, as well as trading view. Stochastic is pulling back. That's our double line. As that orange is above that blue line, we do have bearish momentum for our stochastic. As that stochastic continues lower, RSI will continue lower and bring price action down. This could be a retracement in response to our quick drop down. Remember, a quick drop one way is usually retraced by a move the other way. Look at the quick move down here, up, then we went down quick, up real quick. So we are starting to pull back due to this quick rise, but dropping quick isn't the answer to fill that. So VWAP does want to push forward. That's that yellow wave. As that VWAP attempts to break through that neutral, we could see momentum reverse. But if this VWAP remains more bearish, momentum will continue lower, and our money flow, that red wave, will continue to deepen, showing that people are selling more than they are buying. Over on the 4-hour here, we are overall breaking that 300 EMA there. We did push up to the blue EMA. We do want to gain some bullish momentum. If we can hold above these lower EMAs and break that 300 EMA, that would be positive. But if we get another rejection of that 300 EMA, we likely would see Dixie make a rejection. Our stochastic is running up with our blue above orange. We did make a bounce here. This is positive. If that continues forward, price action could gain strength as that RSI would continue to push up. Our VWAP is in the bullish territory with higher highs, so I would watch. We also have higher lows. If we can sustain this bullish pressure, momentum will continue to push forward, and that money flow could go from being red into the green above that zero, and we could see a bullish wave take us over. Over on the 2-hour, we are trying to cross above EMAs and hold. Watch if the green EMA can hold above the blue EMA. If it can, we could continue further. Stochastic does want to round away. RSI is pulling back. VWAP is starting to round. Momentum does want to round as well. And money flow is starting to sell off, so I would exercise caution. Over on the 1-hour, we did drop down. We did fill this gap that we made here. Remember, gaps do have an 80% likelihood to fill, so if you were watching that, you could have sold off knowing that you would have dropped down, then bought in knowing you could jump back up. Stochastic is starting to round though, so I would watch. We do have the potential to reject this yellow EMA. If we reject this EMA, we're likely going to continue lower. VWAP does want to break that neutral, so watch if it breaks through. If it does, our momentum will continue to round, and money flow could reject. As those lower time frames do lead the higher time frames, we would see those higher time frames start to push down if we make this bearish rejection and continue to favor the bearish territory here. Over on total for the daily, we are back above our EMA, that 300 EMA on the daily. That's positive. Remember, that takes 300 daily candles to form. We did push from our rising channel, so we will delete that bullish scenario as it pretty much played out today. We did push a little higher than the possibility, but now we're kind of stopping right at it. So that does show how you can push above your pattern. But remember, pigs get slaughtered, and hoping for that every time is going to end up getting you wrecked. VWAP does want to round away. We are in the bearish territory, so I would exercise caution despite this pump up. This is a doji candle. If followed by a red candle, we could see a continuation to the downside. Remember, this flag does have the potential to bring us right around that 480 level. Our momentum does want to push up. Money flow is starting to pull back, so overall I would watch lower time frames. They need to break more bullish if we're going to continue further up. Over on the 4-hour, we are running forward. Stochastic is starting to round away. RSI is trying to push forward, so we do look positive. VWAP is making a bounce and continuing to favor bullish. If this can continue, our daily could gain some hope. That momentum does want to push up, and that is trying to push our money flow into the bullish territory. So if we can see that VWAP remain bullish, momentum can push higher, and that money flow could go from being red into the green, giving us a bullish trend And if we get that bullish trend across the 1, 2, and 4 hour, that does give us the potential to run forward. Stochastic does want to push up. We do have our blue above orange. We are in the overbought area. That will help push RSI further up and help keep it in the overbought area, which could be positive in the short term as it could help push us further up. But remember, at some point it would be retraced because you can't stay overbought forever. Our VWAP is in the bullish territory. We do have weaker highs though, so this is what you want to watch. If we continue with those weaker highs and we break for lower lows, momentum will start to round. Money flow could go from being green into the red and bears would gain control. I would watch. This could be a bit of a rising channel if we're not careful. Here's our parallel channel tool. Draw that from here up. So if we run up toward this 300 EMA, get rejected and continue lower, we could stay within this rising channel. If that were to happen, we could see this bring us lower on top of that bear flag possibility, and that could be the break toward around that 505 area. Our stochastic does want to push up. RSI is pushing forward. That VWAP is starting to round, so I would exercise caution overall. Over to the 1 hour, we do have a reversal arrow. That reversal arrow could make the trend reverse. We are in a slight uptrend, so I would watch out. We could see some stagnation and then a drop. Stochastic does want to push up. Momentum is rounding away. Our VWAP does want to round as well, getting a lower high. If that VWAP breaks for a lower low, momentum will break down. Money flow would break down as well. I would watch because if we do make a consistent or lower low on price as well, we will have a descending channel. And rather than having the ascending channel, a descending channel, if the highs and lows don't connect, could be a bearish continuation channel that would just retrace our gains. So I would still exercise a little bit of caution and watch for that bullish momentum to hold. Over on Bitcoin dominance, we are seeing a little bit of a pullback as total did push better than Bitcoin. Remember, that's usually how it works. So if dominance is going to push to that point of control, we could see a little bit of a boom for the altcoins. Stochastic does want to round away. We do have orange crossing above blue and pushing down. That's a bearish cross. RSI is weakening as a result. That VWAP does want to push toward that neutral and money flow is pulling back. So if that VWAP and momentum reject into the bearish territory, our money flow will start to gain some bearish strength and start to push down as well. We'll jump over to futures. Don't know why I clicked on the 4 hour. Over on futures, we're kind of just sidestepping, so I would watch. Remember, when you get consolidation after a push down, that does create a bear flag. A bear flag at this point could take us toward that 52K area. And if we don't have bullish momentum there, we could continue to break. So I would watch. We did make a weak retest of this channel, and we aren't able to break forward. We need a strong green candle in the next day or two. Otherwise, it's likely we could reject. Our stochastic is pushing down. We are still trying to make this candle, so watch over the next day if we can make that rounding bottom. If we can make a rounding bottom, that would be positive. That would be where your green candle is as big as this red candle with this indecision. That would show the bulls could try to gain some upwards momentum, but I would watch. We need to hold that 61K if we do get that upwards momentum, because if we break above and reject again, we could continue lower. We did fill a gap we created when we ran up, so we could retrace these losses, but remember, this is part of a larger double top that can bring you to 30K. Stochastic is dropping away. RSI does want to weaken. Momentum's pushing down. VWAP is struggling to break that neutral, so watch the lower time frames. If they continue to favor bearish, we could see that rejection. Money flow is pulling back, so we do look like we have some potential for bullish momentum, but I would just exercise caution. We do have a gap here on the 4 hour. Remember, gaps fill, 80% chance, so we could see a short-term rejection and then another attempt forward. I would exercise caution, as this is a rising channel that we do seem to be forming, and that rising channel, remember, just like we covered a little while ago, could end up breaking you down rather than up, so that would push us right around that 55K level, like just shy of that psychological. Remember, 55K or even numbers are psychological support resistances as well. Stochastic does want to pull back. RSI looks like it could start to weaken, so watch that stochastic close. If it continues to round away here, our RSI is going to lose steam. Sorry about that. VWAP does want to remain bullish. Momentum is trying to push up, and the money flow is starting to gain strength. If that VWAP can remain in the bullish territory on our lower time frames, the 4 hour could continue to gain strength, and that would push the daily further up. Over on the 2 hour, We do have our VWAP running into the bullish territory after getting a weak low, so we do look positive so far. If that VWAP can continue to favor bullish without breaking through that neutral again, we could see momentum gain strength and push money flow up. That would help propel those higher time frames forward. On the 2 hour, we do have a little bit of a gap below us, but it doesn't quite look like the 4 hours. Over on the 1 hour, I would watch. We did get this reversal hammer, but we did not push down below. This could help push us forward, but if we do run up, we could end up breaking down in the short term. That would give us our third touch to the top, and then maybe a rejection to fill that gap and maybe continue lower from there. Stochastic does want to push up. VWAP is trying to gain strength. Momentum's pushing forward. Money flow does want to run up. So I would watch if that VWAP can remain bullish from here by getting higher highs with higher lows. Momentum could continue to gain strength, push that money flow bullish, but we would need that bullish momentum to hold as we get to the top of the channel. Otherwise, we could get that rejection and still see this double top play out. Remember, that could bring us down to 30K. But if we do reclaim our flags, we do have that 90K possibility. So over on the daily, we did try to run forward. We could jump here on the 1 hour just to take a glimpse. So you can see we did run forward. We hit that level of that resistance perfectly. We will delete that. That is that Fibonacci area. Remember, we cover how to draw the Fibonacci retracement zone on our Mastering the Trade series. But we did push up to this level. We got rejected, and we are continuing lower. That gave us that rejection of our 57K as well. If we cannot reclaim that 57K, we could end up breaking down. But just like we covered on futures, we could try to make a rising channel. And I would exercise caution if we do make a rising channel, because that is good for the short term, but in the long term, it could bring us back down toward that 54K level, 54.5, and that could give us that push toward 52K. So over on the daily, we'll see how this looks and work down. VWAP, and it does want to push up, but it's struggling. Momentum does want to gain strength. We have a double green dot suggesting VWAP does want to break bullish. So I would watch lower time frames if they can favor bullish and hold. We could see this flip into a bullish trend. Stochastic does want to push up. RSI is pushing forward, but I would watch those lower time frames. Over on the 4 hour here, we are in a little bit of a downward channel, so I would watch. If we continue with lower highs and lower lows, we could continue lower. Remember, that would be a bearish continuation. Stochastic does want to round away. RSI is starting to pull back. That VWAP does want to break that neutral, and momentum does look like it does want to push forward. But with that VWAP looking weak, I would watch. If that VWAP rejects, momentum will round away and money flow would break. That would in turn weaken the 4 hour and the daily. Over on the 2 hour here, Stochastic is trying to run up. RSI is pushing forward. VWAP is in the bullish territory. Momentum is gaining strength with higher lows, so that is positive. If that VWAP can remain in the bullish territory and continue to get continued highs with these higher lows, we could see a bullish trend form, pushing momentum higher and giving money flow strength. But again, just be wary of the top of the channel. Stochastic on the 1 hour is pushing up with our RSI, sorry about that. VWAP does want to run up, momentum is gaining strength, and money flow does want to push up. So we do look positive here. This could help propel us forward, but remember that money flow needs to hold bullish if we're going to continue further up. Over on graph for the daily, we do have a little bit of consolidation after getting that breakdown, so I would exercise caution. Remember that bear flag could form and bring us lower, possibly breaking our 1636 and our 14316. Stochastic does want to push up. RSI is pushing forward. VWAP does want to remain bullish. Momentum is trying to push forward, but that VWAP's not very strong. If that VWAP makes another rejection here, we could see the bears continue to drop us away. Over on the 4 hour, we are rejecting EMA levels, so I would exercise caution. We do have slightly lower highs with higher lows, so this could try to make somewhat of a triangle. If we do make a triangle here, that does give us a 50-50 or breaking up or down. Remember, the breakdown could be worse than the break up because it would be more of a bear pendant coming from the breakdown. Our Stochastic does want to round. RSI is pulling back. VWAP does want to break that neutral. Momentum is starting to round, and the money flow is pulling back. So overall, I would exercise caution. Over on the 2 hour here, we do still have that potential for a triangle, so you could draw it with your trend lines. Draw maybe here to right around here, and then that's pretty close. So then you would draw from your top to your bottom. That would give you your bear pendant breakdown, and then you would measure from your top halfway down. and that would give you your 50% break up possibility. So we could try to break up toward around that 20 cent area, but if we do see the bears gain control, we could end up pushing down toward 12,382. So I would exercise caution, but that doesn't mean we had to push all the way down there. Remember, no pattern has to fill 100%. Our stochastic is starting to pull back, RSI is pulling back, that VWAP is favoring bearish, and momentum is pulling back, so I would exercise caution. That could continue to drop money flow, and we could see the higher time frame start to weaken. Over on the 1 hour, stochastic is pulling back, RSI is starting to weaken, so if that stochastic starts to favor under 30, our RSI will start to lead price action lower. VWAP did break bearish and is trying to retest, but if that VWAP does not get a strong high and stay in the bullish territory, we will see momentum and money flow continue to fall, and that will give us a higher probability of breaking to that bearish scenario. Over on Ankr for the daily, we do have some consolidation going here as well, so we will draw a parallel channel for this one that could end up breaking us down. It's not as bad as that pendant probably, but this could end up giving us a new support area, so I would exercise caution. This could take us below that 2020 that we warned about. Stochastic does want to push up. RSI is trying to gain strength. VWAP does want to head toward that neutral, but we're struggling. So watch if those lower time frames can hold bullish. If they can't, we're likely going to push away. Momentum does want to gain strength with a double green dot, so I would watch. Over on the 4 hour, we do have a bit of a rising triangle that could be forming here, counter to that bear flag scenario. So remember, a rising triangle is a bullish pattern that can push you up. So that would give us a little bit of a break, nothing too exciting if I can grab the right line, toward around that 2940. Stochastic does want to round. RSI is pretty flat, so I would watch. Our VWAP is holding bullish, pushing momentum higher. So if that VWAP can remain bullish, momentum will gain strength and money flow could break that neutral, trying to push us up on the 4 hour and the daily. Over on the 2 hour, stochastic is trying to push forward. VWAP does have lower highs, so I would watch. If we continue to break away, the bears will gain control and break us lower, and that rising triangle is likely not going to play out then. If that VWAP holds more bearish, we would invalidate this pattern most likely and continue lower. Stochastic does look like it could start to round. RSI is pulling back. Momentum does want to push forward, but with that VWAP rounding, if it breaks through that neutral, our money flow and momentum could start to fall, and that would weaken those higher time frames. Over on the 1 hour, RSI is trying to push up. Stochastic does want to gain strength. Momentum is pushing forward. Our VWAP is gaining strength as well, trying to hold that money flow's ground. So if this 1 hour can remain bullish, that would give us the chance to break forward, but I would exercise caution. We have a little mini gap here right around that 2417, so I would watch for a rejection of the top and a potential fill of the gap, possibly giving us that bear flag breakdown. Over on XRP for the daily, we do have a potential to make a flag if we continue to consolidate, but if we continue to pull back here and trade sideways downwards, that could make a bearish continuation channel downwards, a descending channel, and that descending channel could end up breaking us forward, but we don't really have much price action to go off, so I'm not going to draw one. Stochastic does want to push up. Our VWAP is favoring bearish. Momentum does want to gain strength, and the money flow is trying to push up. But if those lower time frames don't start to favor bullish, we could start to reject away. Over on our 4 hour here, we are seeing rejections of our EMA levels. Stochastic is starting to pull back. RSI is pretty flat. VWAP is bullish, but struggling. So I would watch. If that VWAP pulls back and favors bearishly, we will see momentum pull back and money flow will start to weaken. Over on the 2 hour, we do have a potential to make a triangle here as well, so I would exercise caution. Remember, a triangle, just like we saw on our other coin, I think that was graph, could end up breaking us lower, but it also has the potential to break us up. This does come from a down channel, so that would be a bear pennant as well. It could end up pushing us lower. Then you would take from halfway to the midpoint, or top to midpoint, point up. That would give us a break up of around 45 cents, but it could also give us a breakdown of 33, so just below that 35 we've been warning about. Stochastic does want to push up. VWAP is trying to remain bullish. Momentum does want to gain strength, and money flow is trying to remain bullish. I would watch if that money flow can remain bullish with our VWAP. If it can, we could see a push forward, but if that VWAP breaks down on these lower time frames, we're likely going to see that bearish scenario. VWAP on the 1 hour is very weak, starting to round, so I would watch. Momentum does want to pull back, stochastic is bearish, and RSI is starting to curl away. If that stochastic continues to drop down, our RSI will start to round away and bring price action lower. Finally, on ALGO for the daily, we do have that rejection of our 1350, so we did try to push toward that resistance, and we are continuing down, so I would exercise caution, but that could make a descending channel to push us up in the short term. Stochastic does want to pull back, RSI is trying to push forward, so if that blue can cross above the orange on stochastic, RSI could push price action further up. VWAP does want to push up, momentum is trying to gain strength, and the money flow is favoring bearish, so if that VWAP does make a round here and get a lower high, we would see momentum continue lower and money flow would start to break down, so watch those lower time frames. Over on the 4 hour here, stochastic is starting to round, watch if our orange crosses the blue. If it does, we could continue down. RSI is starting to pull back, VWAP does want to round away, momentum is starting to round, and that money flow does want to cross bullish. But if that VWAP breaks down and momentum curls, money flow will reject, and we will see the bears start to gain control. That would be a potential to push us down toward that 1052 still. Over on the 2 hour, stochastic does want to push up, RSI is trying to push forward. We could have the same symmetrical triangle here. Momentum does want to push up, VWAP is trying to gain strength, so if that VWAP can remain bullish, momentum could push up and money flow could gain strength. Finally, on the 1 hour, we do have a reversal arrow, so I would exercise caution. It could end up playing out like this, where we went sideways and then dropped down. RSI does want to pull back, our stochastic is starting to drop away, VWAP is starting to break down, and momentum does want to round. So if that VWAP breaks down, we will see momentum start to push lower, and that money flow would reject. That would start to push those higher time frames lower. Thank you for watching tonight's video. I hope you have a great night.